Ó, hoje o vídeo vai ser Minecraft novamente. Mas é diferente, não é o 3000 lá. É um cara que falou que... Tá no título aqui, ó. I beat Minecraft with zero advancements. Ele zerou o Minecraft com 0 avanços. Mas advances também pode ser... Na minha tradução de cabeça aqui é conquistas, tá? Aquelas conquistas do Minecraft, craftar, não sei o que. Ele falou que zerou. 39 minutinhos, você vai vir... Você vem comigo? 39 minutinhos, por favor? Então vem. Vem comigo. Peraí.
Minecraft has a lot of advancements, and while some of them are incredibly difficult to get, most are actually incredibly difficult not to get. In order to beat the game, you have to enter the end and kill the Ender Dragon. In order to get to the end, you have to enter the Nether and go to a fortress and get blaze rods. Some advancements seem straight up impossible to avoid. However, I'm going to show you how I beat the game without getting a single one. Now,
é isso que eu ia perguntar, porque quando você entra no Nether, você ganha uma conquista. Quando você entra no The End, você ganha outra conquista. Então ele vai fazer meio que um repangalejo ali.
If this doesn't sound hard enough already, throughout the entire run, I am never allowed to eat food. I can't kill anything. I can't be killed.
Caramba, ele não pode comer, não pode matar nada, ele não pode...
by anything. I can't
Dying é ser morto?
even make a crafting table without getting an advancement. Before I could do anything else, I needed to find a way to gear up first. And
Quando você vê uma pessoa com bigode, você já sabe que ela é doida. Ela já... Ainda mais jovem com bigode. Senhor com bigode é normal.
the overworld has more advancements that I have to worry about than the Nether and End combined. What? Of course I spawn in a desert during a challenge where I am completely
Nossa, e é raro esse bioma, velho. É o bioma de mesa.
unable to eat food. Before I can go to the Nether, I need gear, but doing so while avoiding every advancement in the game is incredibly difficult. Because I can't hold a stone, iron, or diamonds without getting advancements, half of all the tools and armor in the game are completely unobtainable. The only materials I can collect are gold from ruin portal chests and wood. I was effectively limited to the worst materials in the entire game, and if that wasn't bad enough, I can't even use these materials until I can find a crafting table. See, making a crafting table is the first advancement you get in the game. It doesn't show up in chat, but it unlocks the story advancements page. For this challenge, I needed to beat the game with the advancements tab still completely blacked out. However, this does not mean that I can't use a crafting table. The advancement is only granted if you have a crafting table in your inventory. If there happens to be one already placed down, I can actually use it. And luckily for me, there are a few structures in the game that naturally generate with a crafting table. I just needed to wait until it became daytime before I could start looking for one. Okay. Down into the hole I go. I shall see you again in 10 minutes.
Pelo que eu entendi, ele colocou pra desabilitar, pra ver os avanços, pra ele não saber qual os avanços, pra dificultar mais ainda. Se eu não me engano, ele fez isso. Entendeu? Que você consegue ver qual que é os seus objetivos. Aí meio que ele fez um programinha ali pra não ver isso.
Of unpaused gameplay. Now, the reason that I'm hiding underground during the night is because I can never let myself die to a mob ever. It's another advancement that doesn't show up in chat, but it unlocks the adventure tab. I can never let myself die to a mob, and I can't defend myself either. Both instantly invalidate the run, and I can't skip the night without getting the Sweet Dreams advancement. So, every 10 minutes, I am forced to either find shelter or become a mole. Good morning. I waited a little too long. Dude, I need a crafting table so bad. The Endless Badlands. I see an acacia village. Of course, now I see a desert village over there. Okay, buddy. 2,000 blocks that I've now traveled. Yes. A bucket! Spawning in a desert sounds bad at first, but it was actually perfect because both the savannah and desert village can spawn with a crafting table. However, in both villages, only one of the houses can actually generate with it. And unfortunately, this one did not generate with that house. So, with the nighttime rapidly approaching, I decided to travel to the desert
Nossa, que sorte, hein, velho? Não achou?
village I saw in the distance. Surely one of these buildings has a crafting table. Please. Yes! Oh my gosh. You beautiful sight. No advancements. I can now craft some simple tools. Can't craft stone tools or really much of anything of actual quality, but you know, wooden tools.
Eu lembro que quando você crafta uma espada, picareta, qualquer ferramenta de pedra dá um advanced lá que era de pedra. Você entrou na era de pedra. Então a de madeira pode ser. A de ouro talvez pode ser. Acho que não. A de ferro, a de pedra e de diamante eu acho que dá conquistas, né?
Now, you've probably noticed that my hunger
Eu quero saber. Isso aí. Isso que ele tá falando. Eu quero saber como que ele vai comer. Ele não pode comer. Porque dá conquista também.
is almost entirely depleted after only 2 days. One of the most difficult parts of this challenge is that I cannot eat food to restore my saturation. Doing so grants the root advancement for the husbandry page. The only other way to reset your hunger is by dying. This may not seem like a viable option at first. However, the adventure root advancement is only granted if you die to another mob. If I die at my own volition, I can reset my hunger bar without getting an advancement. And now that I found a village, I could use a bed to set my spawn point. The only problem is that I can only do this during the day. If I use a bed to set my spawn point during the night, I will get the Sweet Dreams advancement. So, I am still...
Ah, então ele tem que se matar, que aí vai regenerar a barra de comida dele. E ele tem que usar a cama de dia, porque de noite se ele usar vai dar Sweet Dreams. E aí é uma conquista também.
Still forced to wait out the night before I can do pretty much anything. Oh my god. Guys, you didn't finish the wall of this house. Please, I want to go outside. I think that means that you can no longer sleep. Right-clicking this does not give me the advancement. Doing this, just simply drowning, nothing. We're off scot-free. And with all of my hunger back. Unfortunately, it does mean that I'm going to have to go out on ventures and then come back to craft, because I can't exactly take the crafting table with me. But it does also mean that I can now make a boat. I think I can mine... Oh, yeah.
Na verdade, eu falei que ele fez uma programação para não aparecer os avanços, mas é porque ele não fez nenhum avanço. Então não aparece nada. Porque quando ele faz já a crafting table, já mostra algumas coisas. É tipo isso.
Yeah, with what? I can't mine these gold blocks. Dude, I need this gold for trading with piglins for the ender pearls, but unfortunately I can't mine the gold because I don't have an iron pick. Not bad. I'm kind of just gold only, honestly, right now on this playthrough. Still can't mine gold with gold because gold is garbage. I'm so thankful that I have a boat to cross these distances a little bit faster.
O problema é se ele achar diamante no baú, eu acho que dá até conquista também. Diamante, ferro.
Coal is actually pretty useful. Really? It's actually just the one worst possible chest? Yo, screw the other village. I think I might have just found another crafting table. Surely I get something good in this one. Yes. I will take a flint and steel. 4 iron. Oh my gosh, bro. Finding a crafting table was crucial for this challenge, but you're probably noticing a pretty massive problem emerging. Between how many items grant advancements, as well as only having wooden and gold tools, how was I supposed to gather any resources to make things with? Well, this is the point in the challenge where you have to start really thinking about what action is actually causing the advancement. Acquire hardware or any other advancement related
Até o obsidian, é isso que eu tava pensando.
to getting an item is granted when the game registers that item in your inventory. What this means is that you can technically craft with items that grant advancements, as long as the item itself never touches your inventory. For example, holding iron nuggets does not give you acquire hardware, so you can turn them into iron ingots and then immediately use them to craft something else. The iron ingots were never in my inventory directly.
Então, o que dá a notificação é entrar no inventário. Então, se ele ficar só craftando, igual ele fez com os lingotes ali de iron, aí ele já pega e vai no craft direto, então não dá problema. Se cair no inventário que computa, beleza.
So I never got an advancement. This alone unlocks countless items, but it actually gets even better because you can just pick up iron ingots directly if you have a bundle. If I were to just put this iron straight in my inventory, I would immediately get the acquire hardware advancement. But because I have a bundle within my inventory, I can put the iron directly into this bundle, and I did not get an advancement because it is within the bundle. The game does not see it as being in my inventory.
Então, se coloca na sacola, não dá BO, beleza.
And now I can return with enough iron back to my crafting table in the village and craft whatever I want out of the iron, as long as the thing that I craft doesn't also give me an advancement. As dumb as it sounds, bundles are one of the most overpowered items in this challenge.
Yeah.
And all I had to do to get one was loot a few village chests. Bundles single-handedly allow you to pick up every item in the game that normally gives you an advancement. However, there is one limiting factor. The item has to be in a chest or container in order to actually pick it up with the bundle. This seems like a pretty massive problem, but now that I had found iron, I was able to take it back to a crafting table and make a hopper. Now, as an example, if this orange terracotta was something that gave me an advancement, but I needed to pick it up, it's not in a chest, so I can't open it and just use the bundle straight away. But with a hopper, I can now come underneath and place it down, mine the thing that gives me the advancement, stand back, I can put it straight in the bundle. That's the power of the hopper. I really hope that I can mine this with a gold or a wood pick. Okay, at least gold. I actually don't know if I can mine that with a wood pick, so I might have limited uses.
Achava que era só de ferro pra cima.
Which is really good. Using the bundle and a hopper, I could now pick up every item in the game that would normally grant an advancement. And yet, I am still stuck with wooden tools. See, just for good measure, the game has separate advancements for making a stone and iron pickaxe, making them impossible to use in this challenge. However, the diamond pickaxe does not. Having a pickaxe that was fast and didn't break after 5 minutes of use would be incredibly useful for making progress later in the run. The only problem is that my luck had officially run out. The worst blacksmith chest I think I've ever seen. You should be ashamed of yourself. If I wanted a diamond pickaxe, I was going to have to mine for it. I may not be able to mine diamonds directly, but I can blow them up with TNT. And then use a hopper to collect them. I just needed to mine low enough to actually find diamonds, with 3 wooden pickaxes to my name. I can mine all I want. I just can't pick up stone. So I just have to make sure my inventory is full at all times. Hello? Why did I not make a shield, bro? Oh, wait. I can't use a shield. If something tries to hit me with a shield, advancement, give it, bro. Dude, this is so terrifying. Oh, a cave. Okay. I gotta just risk it. I just can't attack or be attacked. Really kind of puts me in a bit of a bad situation. Wow, this could not be a more ideal cave to find, though, for this. Between all of the lava and glowberries from the lush cave, almost no mobs could actually spawn, allowing me to safely blow up and collect 3 diamonds for the pickaxe. With 18 durability left on the wood pick, I finally surface. Where am I? Oh, yes. You guys may have preyed on my downfall, but I'm back to tell the story. Yeah. That's what I thought. Oh, this truly unlocks everything else that is to come in this run, dude. Get those diamonds straight into a diamond pick. Iron axe, iron shovel. Might as well make an iron sword, I guess. I need to reset my hunger before I can go down. Oh,
os caras descobrem umas coisas bobas, né, velho? Tipo, como que jogar na sacola não computa? Aí talvez o Minecraft vai atualizar e vai fazer computar, pra dificultar esses bugs, né?
isn't happy that I got a diamond pickaxe. I now had upgraded tools and a way to pick up every single item in the game. So it was time to start thinking about how I was going to actually beat the game. I need to get to the Nether, and for that, I'm obviously going to need a Nether portal. The only issue is that getting obsidian is an advancement, and I can't use the bundle because I actually have to hold it. You can also place obsidian by moving and converting lava, but picking up lava grants you the hot stuff advancement. However, I can still pick up water. I can still convert lava into obsidian. This may not seem particularly useful when I can only convert lava that generated with the world, but here's the thing. After a Minecraft world generates, every cave is filled with lava below y-54, and some caves can generate down to the bedrock at y-59, 5 blocks lower. A Nether portal frame is 5 blocks tall. So, if a lava cave is large enough, there will already be lava placed in the shape of a Nether portal. I just need to carefully carve it out and convert it into obsidian. My favorite part of the day. Oh my gosh. Like, even this is so much more nice. Ooh, don't shoot me. Oh my god. I have returned 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. That's almost 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really? I might have to go over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this whole area is 5 deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I just have to construct it down into the lava. That's the top of the portal. And because I bridged up with sand behind, I can place up against the sand here and get rid of those source blocks. Break the clay and then place in the water. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, dude, there it is. Woohoo! I never held obsidian,
Nossa, velho.
and I never picked up
Que trabalheira, hein?
lava in a bucket. And I now have a portal to the Nether.
Só que quando você entra, eu acho que dá uma notificação também, hein? Uma conquista.
Let's go, dude. There doesn't seem to be anything here. The only problem now is how do I enter this portal, do you ask?
É isso aí.
This is the point that every Zero advancement run has failed. There is no way to make Eyes of Ender to open the end portal without getting blaze rods from the Nether, which upon entering for the first time awards you the advancement, we need to go deeper. This advancement is unanimously agreed upon to be completely impossible to avoid.
So far, we've managed to do all of this without getting a single advancement. Unfortunately, this one isn't really avoidable, and entering the Nether actually gives 2 advancements.
We need to go deeper in the Minecraft tab and Nether, the root advancement of the Nether tab. These are unskippable.
There's literally no way to avoid those. Upon arriving in the Nether, they are both awarded to the player simultaneously.
This sounds pretty cut and dry. It is not possible to beat the game without getting any advancements. However, to me, this sounded more like no one had managed to find a way. See, Minecraft is a game notorious for massive exploits and glitches, so when I first heard this, I decided to look through Minecraft's source code. What I found is that when you enter a Nether portal, the game moves the player into the Nether first. It fully saves
Nossa, o cara entrou na programação pra ver, velho.
your position and dimension, and then checks if it is the first time you are in the Nether, awarding the advancement. Because it happens in this order, if you were to somehow crash the game in between these 2 events, the code that gives you the advancement would never run, but you would still end up in the Nether. The only question is how you would ever pull this off in survival mode without cheating. This was not something I could figure out on
Acho que ele tá tentando entrar e quitar da partida, alguma coisa assim.
my own. In fact, this isn't even the first time I've attempted this challenge. I first discovered this theoretical way to skip the Nether advancement a year and a half ago, but I never found a way to actually do it for real.
Porque esse que tá sendo o problema. No Nether, quando você entra no Nether, você não ganha uma conquista, você ganha 2. De entrar cada vez mais profundo lá e não sei o que. É 2. E todos os vídeos que ele viu ali, que listou, o pessoal fala que não tem como não dar essa conquista. Esse cara vai fazer aqui. Não ter essa conquista, entendeu?
real. It sounded completely impossible, but after every person I talked to, after every dead end, I always held on to a small amount of hope. And the reason I'm making this video is because a new exploit was recently discovered that actually makes this possible. In order to get to the Nether without the advancement, you need to crash the game after it moves the player, but before it awards the advancement. The only problem is that these lines of code are effectively right next to each other. You can't just Alt F4 Minecraft. It would literally be impossible to time. So you also need to crash the game because the player was moved into the Nether. Something during this specific action needs to somehow go wrong. This is where Micahrific and Katie the QT come in. They discovered a brand new exploit that, among many other things, can actually be used to crash the game because the player was moved into the Nether. Their full breakdown on everything the exploit can do will be linked in the description, but I'm going to try and simplify it to the best of my ability. It's a little complex, so please, if you would, I'm gonna need you to put your phone away. Okay, so when you are playing Minecraft, every entity is given an ID number. Everything from mobs to items, even the player gets an ID number. The entity ID
Igual na programação. Programação é isso.
number simply starts at 1 and increments upwards. Every time the game creates or loads in a new entity, it is simply given the next number in the list. This ID system is how the game keeps track of all the entities loaded in the world. So the game doesn't really like it if there is 2 entities with the same ID number. In fact, the developers made it so that the game instantly crashes if this situation ever occurs. And the reason all of this is important is because we need the game to crash when it tries to move the player into the Nether. And the player also has an entity ID number. So, this means that if there was an entity in the Nether with the same ID as the player, when the game attempts to move the player into the Nether, the 2 entity IDs will collide, instantly crashing the game before it can give you the advancement. Now, it was just a matter of doing that in survival mode without cheating. Yo, there's a slime. What's up, dude? Oh! Yo, you did... It sounds impossible, but you can actually make an entity that has the same ID as the player on the latest version of Minecraft. It's just incredibly difficult and requires a massive redstone machine that I would need to build. So, with my new diamond pickaxe, I spent the next 5 hours carefully gathering materials, collecting 8 stacks of redstone, almost 2 stacks of iron. I had to raid the mine shaft I found because I needed string for dispensers. Using my hoppers and the bundle, I was also able to collect the cobblestone I needed for all of the redstone components. I actually don't even know if I need to dodge stone being in my inventory. I'm afraid. Redstone repeaters, dude, no advancements. Look at all this redstone stuff that I've built. This has iron, this has stone, this has cobblestone. All this. The final thing I needed was building blocks, and a lot of them. So I used the TNT from the desert temples to collect as much dirt as I could. I don't see how I could ever need more than this amount of dirt. I need to build this machine out in the middle of nowhere. If I can help it, I cannot have any mob spawning when I'm using this machine. Effectively just wanting to be in the middle of the largest ocean possible at world height. In order to get to the Nether, I need to somehow produce an entity that has the same ID number as the player. It sounds impossible without some game-breaking glitch. However, it's actually a lot dumber than that. Here's the thing. Computers cannot store an infinite amount of data. Every variable in every game has a...
Se ficar guardando os dados eternamente é doideira. Por isso que o pessoal joga pra nuvem.
maximum value, and that includes entity IDs. The largest amount of EIDs Minecraft can store is 2 to the power of 32. It's a massive number, but it's not infinite, and this fact is what we can take advantage of. See, the entity ID value is saved as a signed integer, meaning that when it reaches halfway, it actually becomes negative, meaning that it will start counting back up to 0. Which is exactly what we need to happen, because it means the game will begin assigning IDs to new entities that already exist. On the surface, this still sounds basically impossible to do in survival Minecraft. I mean, you would need to load in over 4 billion entities to reset the EID value back to 0. However, there is one final thing that makes all of this possible. Entities do not get a permanent ID number. Rather, they are given a new one every time they are loaded in. You can increase the EID value 100 by loading in 100 pigs, but you can also do it by loading in 1 pig 100 times, or in our case, 4 billion. Say hello to the EID suppression machine, ladies and gentlemen. It does look a little bit stupid considering it's made out of dirt. This machine is going to basically just force the game to load 20,000 snowball entities over and over again every other tick, incrementing the entity counter by 200,000 per second.
Imagine se erra uma coisinha.
Unfortunately, because we are trying to wrap over the 32-bit integer limit, it's still going to take about 7 hours, but it's fine. As dumb as it sounds, the fastest way to increase the EID value is by loading and unloading the same entities over and over again. The machine I built dispenses 20,000 snowballs into unloaded chunks at the edge of my render distance, where I can then use a redstone clock to load and unload them every other tick, or 10 times a second. And best of all, snowballs are incredibly easy to get. With a simple snow farm, I was able to collect the 20,000 snowballs I needed in a single hour, 1,000 for each of the 20 dispensers across the machine. This is the maximum amount of snowballs my computer can handle before the game starts lagging. 20,000 snowballs every other tick, or 200,000 entity IDs created every second. Unfortunately, 4 billion is still a very large number. At this speed, I need to run the machine for 6 hours to wrap the EID value back to 0. And in order to check the current ID value throughout this process, I have villagers in unloaded chunks that I can kill with a flint and steel. See, if all of this wasn't hard enough, the only way to actually check the current entity ID without mods is by looking at the game logs. When a special mob dies, such as a villager, it will tell you the current entity ID. So I did this multiple times while I was using the machine, so that I could actually check.
Nossa, resumindo, o cara teve BO danado. Trabalheira danada, velho. Tá doido, velho. Vou até deixar like nesse vídeo. Cadê? Tá doido, merece like. 1 milhão de views, compensou.
Check my progress. How close is it? 18 million. This was a lot closer to 0 than you probably realize. If I turned the machine back on, it would clear past 0 in 90 seconds. It was too risky to time. This meant that I had to start manually incrementing the EID value, increasing it by 20,000 each time I pressed the lever. 96, 97, 98, 99, 900. The game logs the player's entity ID when you first join the world. In my case, it was 2, and I had now brought the entity ID value to negative 47,000. 47,000 entities until the game assigned the next one the same ID as my player. And this is where things start to get a lot more difficult. I need to get the entity ID value to exactly 2 less than my player, or 0. Then, I need to toss an item into the nether portal. This item will be given entity ID 1 in the overworld, but when it goes through the nether portal, the game actually deletes that entity and creates a new one in the nether. This item in the nether will have the same ID as the player, but this does not crash the game because they are in separate dimensions. It is only when I go through the portal that the entity IDs will collide. This sounds simple enough, but this requires perfect precision when increasing the EID value. So
Pareceu fácil essa última frase dele, mas o tanto de trabalho que ele teve até chegar a isso.
So, before I started, I built a smaller version of the machine next to the nether portal, with only 100 snowballs. This would allow me to increment the EID value more precisely. However, this poses a new problem. Even with my render distance on 2 chunks, just traveling to the nether portal incremented the EID value by 6,000. Okay, 41,000. That's crazy, actually. That means that I loaded 6,000 entities on the way over here. Because I was no longer at the height limit over an ocean, random mobs can spawn and increment the EID value without me knowing. So, to account for this, I also set up a buffer. Before I started, I filled 15 chest minecarts, each with 27 wooden shovels. Because wooden shovels can't stack, if I send these through the portal and then blow them up, it will instantly create 405 entities. And only one needs to have the same ID as the player to crash the game. I luckily know that my ID value is exactly 2. So really, I want to be as far from 2 as possible within 400. If I'm not moving, it shouldn't be changing that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. In 5 lever presses, I will be at negative 400, theoretically. Probably a little bit lower. There's no way that 400 entities have been loaded. I've definitely
Que doideira, hein?
loaded at least 86. Okay, this is actually terrifying. 1, 2, 3, 4. Walk through the chunk, loading it one more time. Light the portal, which sends the minecarts through.
Ah, ele spawnou dentro da fortaleza. A fortaleza tem a conquista também.
Are we fucking dead ass right now? Truthfully, with how hard this was, I did not expect to do it first try. That
Mano, isso aí é loucura, velho. Foi. Nossa. Tipo assim, se eu cair, se eu já spawnei na fortaleza, foi tipo assim, uma vez. Em todas as jogatinas de Maia.
was not the problem. The problem was that I spawned in a nether fortress. Even if I successfully avoided We Need to Go Deeper, upon rejoining the world, I would have still immediately gotten the advancement for being inside of a fortress. So this begs the question, where was I going to go from here? I mean, gearing up and building the machine took 14 hours of work. Which is exactly why I saved a backup of the world before I started using the machine. Now, to be clear, I was not using this to cheat in any way. I mean, all of the progress that I made up to this point was completely legitimate. This would
Eu apoio, tá certo. Pegou backup, pô. Tá doido? O cara vai ficar de novo 40 e quantas horas aí fazendo negócio? Pô, empatia, gente. Empatia. Valeu, backup tá certo. Eu, como juiz, eu declaro que, ó, o backup tá certo.
just allow me to try again without having to redo all of my progress. It's good to be back. It's definitely like a bit of a gray area that I'm not full resetting after the failed attempt, but I'm really trying to make sure that I don't, you know, come away from that with an advantage. I mostly just wanted to prove that a no advancements run was possible, so I was going to attempt to go to the Nether on the same world. However, my current Nether portal still spawns me inside of a Nether fortress, so I had to find a completely new lava cave so that I could make another one. Okay, I just need one more. That's 5 blocks deep. No way I get trolled like that. Okay, thank you. Yes. Finally. For my second Nether portal, I constructed a new and improved machine that would give me a lot more control when incrementing the EID value. I now had 7 villagers that I could use to check the current ID, and they are all hooked up to a single button. Each time I press it, one new villager is killed, and a block to power the next dispenser is then moved into place. This button is also accessible on my newly patented chunk unloading shimmy machine. Using a minecart, I can quickly move 3 chunks over, barely crossing the final chunk border to unload the villagers. Here, I have access to a lever that I can use to increment the entity ID by 100 each time I press it. And anytime I want to check the current ID value, I can press a button to go back with the minecart, loading in the villagers with new IDs so that I can repeat the process. 405 wooden shovels coming right up
Que trabalho, tá?
into these chest minecarts. It's like even with 400 entities, it's still such a small margin of error. But at least it's not what I initially thought was gonna have to happen for this, where I was gonna have a margin of error of 2, where I had to exactly drop the item through the portal. Dude, I always feel so naked now when I have like all of my inventory just open. This should be my prepared inventory for the Nether. Final hunger reset before the Nether. I've quadruple checked everything. Okay, timer starts now. Oh my gosh. Let's go, dude. That's only a timer for halfway there as well. $111, $112, $113. Okay, time for the final section. 30 seconds has passed. Let us see where our EID value is at. Yep, basically exactly where I expected that to be. Very happy about that. Just want to see how much we are incrementing by moving back and forth through the chunks, loading random entities. Incrementing 115 again. Okay, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. We go back exactly negative 20,000. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 38 button presses. Then I light the portal. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Okay, let that happen. So, just about there. That's the TNT minecart blowing up all of the entities on the other side of the portal. Yes! Editing software reveal, dude. Yes. Oh my god. Now when I log into this world, I should be seeing the Nether for the first time. Yes. There it is.
Deu certo, velho.
There doesn't seem to be anything here. Yeah, right.
É só 40 horas. Sei lá, né?
Like, I don't know if you see the dimension that I'm currently in. Oh, yikes. This is insane.
Quase.
Oh my god. Yo, relax. I'm just digging. Oh my god, how am I here? Before I did anything else, I needed to collect glowstone. Back when I was in the overworld, I used the hopper and bundle to collect crying obsidian from ruined portals. And because I can use a crafter to craft things without getting an advancement, I could now make a respawn
Eu não conhecia essa máquina aí não, essa crafting table estranha.
on Anchor. It's like, imagine I forget to right click it, bro.
É porque eu sou muito ruim de redstone, entendeu? Então eu nem tento muito.
The tragedy. Oh yeah, there was two things that I needed to do before I could leave the Nether. Kill blazes for blaze rods and trade with piglins for ender pearls. The O Shiny advancement is only granted if you trade with a piglin while it is mad at you. So if you have gold armor, this is actually not a problem. Since I have gold armor and they're passive, just giving it gold does not count as the O Shiny advancement. Now, I do have to be careful because some of the items that piglins drop actually will give me advancements. And I think probably the smartest thing to do is just going to be to make like a little filtration system, basically. Guys, come on in. Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a good amount of gold. Soul speed 1, let's go. 19 pearls. That gives me a ton of breathing room for just like a minute.
É, eu quero saber como que ele vai fazer o negócio da fortaleza lá. Como que ele vai bater no Blaze lá. Você entendeu o que eu tô falando.
Million eyes of ender to break, and also ender pearls I'm gonna need later. Okay. It's time for the most terrifying split of all. I need to get blaze rods. Getting the ender pearls was effectively child's play compared to the blaze rods. Even though I was already in the Nether,
Coisa de criança.
this was still going to be one of the hardest parts of the entire run. Picking up a blaze rod gives you an advancement, so I would have to use a hopper to collect them. But entering a nether fortress also gives you an advancement, so I would need to use a fishing rod to carefully pull the blazes out.
Legal.
But then, how do you kill the blaze? If you kill it to drop the blaze rod, you will get the monster hunter advancement. So you might try to get a piglin to kill the blaze for you. However, doing this does not drop a blaze rod. This is because blazes are one of the only mobs in the game that only drops its loot if it is killed by a player, which means that it should be technically impossible to get blaze rods without getting an advancement. But here's the thing. For the blaze rod to drop, the player only needs to get some credit for killing the blaze. If you deal some damage and then let a piglin finish it off, you are not directly killing it, which...
Se você der assistência, ele dropa. Se você não tiver nada a ver, ele nem dropa.
Avoids Monster Hunter, but because you still helped, the game actually drops a blaze rod. This loophole is the only way that you can get blaze rods without getting an advancement. The only problem is that it was patched out of the game 2 years ago. In version 1.20 and 1.21, Monster Hunter is now also granted if the player gets any credit for killing a hostile mob. So, if I wanted to get blaze rods, I would need to play on version 1.19. And downgrading a Minecraft world deletes every single item in your inventory. I needed to store all of my valuable items in a faraway chest, only keeping what would be absolutely necessary. I will be back for you, for the Ender Pearls. While I was still on 1.21, I constructed a chamber to hold the blazes. Because I was going to have nothing after downgrading the world, I gathered as many blazes as I could while I still had fishing rods and fire resistance potions. See, unlike my inventory, entities actually survive when you downgrade the version. Because of this, I could also bring a minecart with me back to 1.19. Oh! This minecart is still here. We can place it and it will travel up the rail and take one blaze into the new chamber where the piglin is. The blaze should get ejected just into the hole. Oh, like that. Get my minecart back. Now that it is in position, I can stand on the other side of the blaze so that the piglin shoots the blaze instead of me. I just need to get kill credit. So I think after here, I'm going to give it a punch. And then it should die after one more hit. Oh, get out of the way. We have a blaze rod dropped and collected, but
Mano, ele tem 5 minutos pra zerar o Minecraft.
no advancement. And now I can upgrade back to 1.21.11 and pick these bad boys up in a bundle. I'm pretty certain that I got 12 or 13 blazes. I don't know exactly because I wasn't counting. With 50% odds, I should get about 6 blaze rods. Yes. 4 punches. Okay, I'm just gonna roll 50% every time. Like, what is happening? Okay, come to the front, you idiot. 4 punch hits. I'm not cheating, I swear. No dream mods are on the client. Where is this luck when I'm speedrunning Minecraft? Like, actually, I swear if it dropped again. Like, what is happening? I have blazes to spare, dude. I have multiple. After killing the blazes and getting a total of 9 blaze rods, I could finally return to 1.21 and retrieve the rest of my items. Because I left them far away in an unloaded chunk, the game never deleted them. So I could now use my bundle to skip the into fire advancement and craft the blaze rods into blaze powder. A ridiculous amount of blaze powder, if I'm gonna be honest. I will be leaving now with my 2 trophies. Kind of sad, I gotta...
A parte mais difícil era de entrar no Nether, depois ficou mais fácil, né? Mais fácil, entre muitas aspas, né? Pra mim é muito difícil ainda. Pra ele já tá.
Say goodbye to this
Difícil é questão de opinião, meu filho.
dimension. I can never come back unless I want to...
Eu tenho uma teoria, ó. Eu tenho uma teoria. Não existe nada fácil e nada... Na verdade, não existe nada difícil. Existe coisa que você não conhece ainda. Tipo assim... Teoria da relatividade. Não, eu já peguei um negócio muito alto. Sei lá, programação. Programação é difícil? Você já estudou? É difícil pra quem não faz. Entendeu? Tipo assim, só é difícil porque você não tentou. Quando você tenta, vai ficando mais fácil. Entendeu? Que aí o conhecimento vai acumulando. Ah, não sei o que. Fazer crochê é difícil? É difícil pra você que não fez. Pra alguém que já faz há muito tempo, não é. Então, a diferença de uma pessoa pra outra é que ela passou mais tempo com essa atividade.
Press the advancement again. Oh, okay. I see how it is. Yo. Okay.
Quase.
It's been fun, Nether. But I have things to attend to. Oh my god, I'm back. Using the Ender Pearls and Blaze Powder, I could now find where the stronghold was. One of the final advancements I needed to worry about in this challenge was the advancement for entering the stronghold. In order to avoid I Spy, I had to dig around the outside for 20 minutes until I found the portal room. Oh! Wait, where is it? Oh my god. Yes. I might actually have to fill in the portal frames from below. I can't reach them from up here. Dig up. Insane. Oh my gosh. I'm getting rained on, bro. Yes, dude. Oh my god. All I had to do to avoid I Spy was throw an ender pearl into the portal. But as you probably know by now, it would not be this simple. Because just like the Nether, the end also has an advancement when you enter it. And it needs to be skipped in exactly the same way. So I spent the next 5 hours rebuilding the machine that
Mano, 5 horas, velho, fazendo uma máquina só pra entrar no portal. Olha que loucura, velho. É muito tempo que gastou nesse vídeo, velho.
I made at the Nether
Tomara que tenha compensado.
portal, and another 6 hours to wrap the EID value back to 0.
Compensado não só financeiramente, mas também por ser uma inovação. Porque não tinha essa questão de, pelo menos o que ele mostrou aqui, eu nunca pesquisei sobre.
Again, it's the final day on this world. I will not be here by the next sunrise, I think. Oh, it's actually unreal. I'm actually gonna enter the end. Dispense the snowballs. Clock is disabled. Let's get the logs up and running here. I loaded 8,000 entities getting over here. That's why I gave myself a little bit more, but that's still what I expected to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 98, 99, 100. Expecting to be at about 21,000. That was quite a bit different. How many lever presses to get down 10,000 with 106 each time? 94 lever presses this time. 1, 2, 3, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94. Let's see if we've gone 10K. Okay, that has gone exactly 10,000. I'm gonna do what I expect to be 5,000. 1, 2, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Should be at 5,280. Okay, just about a little high. So at 5,321. I'm aiming for 500 left, basically. 45 lever presses, and then we go through 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Drop the chest minecarts in. Drop the TNT in. And then I pearl in after. Yes! I figured out all the bull that I had to like work around, and now I can do it every time. It's still just so nerve-wracking. It doesn't hit me that I'm actually gonna beat the game. It's time for the victory lap, if anything. Killing the dragon. It's actually... Hello, Mr. Ender Dragon. Probably never think about it, but if you've ever watched someone kill the Ender Dragon with beds, they don't act...
Eu acho que quando você mata o Ender Dragon também tem uma conquista. Eu acho, não lembro.
Actually get free the end or Monster Hunter, because the bed is the thing killing the dragon. So in some regards, it's honestly quite poetic. Even though it is a 40-hour run, it is still first place because no one has ever beaten the game with 0 advancements before. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how I beat the game without getting any advancements. And I want to thank you so
Não tem, eu jurava que quando você matava o Ender Dragon tinha.
much for watching to the end. If you want to catch me more often than once every 3 months, I have a second channel. So make sure to subscribe to that if you haven't already. Advancements. And I want to thank you so much for watching to the end. If you want to catch me more often than once every 3 months, I have a second channel. So make sure to subscribe to that if you haven't already. After you subscribe.
Cara, eu não consegui entender. Eu não sei se ele demorou 3 meses pra fazer isso no segundo canal dele. Se foi tempo, hein? Mano, é isso. Obrigado por ter assistido 49 minutos, velho. Mas enfim. O cara conseguiu um feito histórico.